Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Let's seek the truth and travel the long road to justice together. Well, what you know, Alibiers, welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Hope you're having a good weekend. Hope you have some fun plans, or maybe you're just going to chill. Y'all, I have to say, the reason I did not do an episode yesterday, my telescope came. So I was outside until the wee hours of the morning. My 12-year-old self, who had that Kmart telescope, was in heaven last night. So now I have to figure out when I'm going to sleep because I work all day and now I'm going to want to stay out till 4 a.m. every morning. I'm going to have to find a happy medium. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe, like the video, share it. If you want notifications of when I post new content, hit that bell button. Appreciate you guys. Music fact of the day. Leonard Skinner got their name from a high school teacher named Leonard Skinner, who was known for suspending students who had long hair. By the way, the plane crash that killed 6 people, including lead singer Ronnie Van Zant, had departed from right here in Greenville after a concert before it crashed. These wiretaps that we're going to cover today, I call the wiretaps before the storm. And I was really surprised when I came to this batch of wiretaps where it seems like Charlie and Donna and even Katie are somewhat comfortable. And we know there have been several bumps the month before that got everybody stirred up. For some reason, they have this really false sense of security before it all comes crashing down. We're going to get up to the day of Sigfredo's arrest with these. And I debated whether or not to include some of these wiretaps, but ultimately I thought it gives a really good insight into Charlie and Donna's relationship and the dynamics, because in the previous wiretaps, it was just chaotic. These are a little bit calmer. This next wiretap is May 17th, 2016. This is 8 days before Sigfredo's arrest. Charlie tells Donna he's still in the office, and he says on a day like today, he made $10,000. He said he sent her an email, but he wanted to tell her that he's going to Europe at the end of the summer. He said the guys he goes to Brazil with wanted to go to Spain and then Croatia and then a couple of other countries. He said 4 guys is the perfect number to travel with. He said if one other guy comes, he'll open it up and it'll be 7 or 8 guys. Then you don't have 5 because it's a pain getting in the taxis. Charlie says he has 1.7 million air miles, so he's hoping he can use those to get his airline tickets. Donna talks about piano and says one of the boys played a song perfectly, and there was a girl who was struggling and started crying. The boy asked Donna why the girl was crying, and Donna said because you're half her age and you're playing perfectly, and she felt bad. The boy said he felt sorry, and Donna tells Charlie the boys are adorable, and Charlie asked if they had fun. Donna said they had fun, they got cookies, had treats, and went home. Donna says GPS said they should be there in 25 minutes, but it took a solid hour. Charlie asked Donna if they're going to Costa Rica, the Singer Islands, and on a cruise. Donna said the cruise is in July. Charlie says all within 6 weeks, and Donna says, yeah, that's a lot of traveling. He asked if they're also going to Philadelphia. Donna says July 29th for 1 week. Charlie tells Donna they're going to have the best time in Costa Rica. Donna says she can't wait. Charlie said it's the kind of place you'll want to go back to. You'll be like, it's 2.5 hours away. Let's just go for a week or a couple of days. All of a sudden, he says, let me call you later. And that call ends. Moving on to May 20th, 5 days before Sigfredo's arrest. Charlie said he went to a place that sells DJ equipment and bought one of his friend's kid a fog machine with some laser lights so the kid can DJ at the house. And Donna asks, is it the little guy? Charlie says yes. And then he explains to her that you can use your cell phone to control it. And Donna says, what a nice thing to do. Charlie asked Donna what she thought of an apartment they were looking at. She said, you can look out, but there's a light blue tint on the windows. And she says, you can't use the balcony, which is why the company reduced it by $5,000. Donna said she wouldn't take it if they reduced it by $8,000. Charlie said he'd offer him $5,000. And Donna said, that's what it's worth. Donna said she would take it for $6,000. And Charlie said it would be worth it for the security and the facilities. Here comes Captain Obvious Charlie. He says, you know, if you like something, figure out if you can afford it. And if you can and you like it, get it. He said it's a very simple equation. Donna tells him the kitchen was amazing. She really loved it. She said there's a round bed that moves in a circular fashion. There's a built-in jacuzzi in the bedroom. It has a waterfall that went down the wall with lights. Donna talks to one of the boys and says to talk to Grandpa. Let me talk to Uncle Charlie. Then she says, no Netflix. Then she goes on to say the bathroom had a Japanese toilet, you know, the kind that does everything for you. Is it my taste? Is it ultra modern like I like? No. The TV set in the living room drops down from the ceiling. You can press another button and you can watch the TV from the bedroom. Charlie says he spoke with the guy for 2 seconds and he said he put $1 million into that apartment. So this shows that Charlie is really comfortable right now for whatever reason. He says, this is my philosophy, especially this week. You only live once. And it's not like you're 35 where it's like, all right, I got my money and I've got to make my money last 50 years. You and dad need to say to yourself, is this really so cool? Something I've never lived in? I never thought I'd live in a million years. And then you got to say, don't look at the numbers. Can I afford to rent it right now? Not does it make sense? Because the truth is, it's an absurd amount of money to pay a month for an apartment. And Donna says, oh, it's ridiculous. Charlie says, but if you knew you were going to live another 30 years, I would say that's absurd. But what you have to remember is, and I hate to say it, and Donna says, oh, I know, limited span. I know. Charlie says, so look, figure out what you have coming in. You know, you get $3,000 a month in Social Security. You get $6,000 to $7,000 a month from the apartment complex. Right there, you're at $9,000 a month. Figure out what you're getting from your investments, and dad's still working a bit. You figure out what you're going through in a month. Donna says the problem is I have 2 little boys. Do you know what the damage deposit would be in that apartment? She says you can see cruise ships and the beach. And even though you don't have the balcony there, it's a beautiful view. They talk about what you can see in each direction. And Charlie says, if you and dad say it would be so cool to live here, I'd just punch the button and get it. You have to have the attitude of when I'm 80, we're going to sit down and we'll calm down on our spending at that point, and maybe you'll scale it back, but worry about it when you're 80. You could say we'll do whatever makes us happy, and then when we're 80, we'll cut back if we have to. If you see something you like but don't get it because it doesn't make sense, it's not getting what you want. That's moronic. You could always change your mind next year. You're not writing a check for $5 million. You're talking about the difference of 20 or 30 grand a year. You work too hard to be sitting here and not getting a place you want. It's pointless. Donna says she really has to think about it and she needs to look at it again. Charlie says, just be like, hey, I would be really happy waking up here in the morning with this view. Would I be happy with the security and the valet and everything that comes with this place? Better than where I'm at. And if the answer is yes, don't even look at the money. Donna's had enough. She says, okay, sounds good. Go to work. The call ends. Another call between Donna and Charlie on May 21st, 2016. This is 4 days before Sigfredo's arrest. Donna is essentially booking Charlie's travel, tells him she needs his credit card in case they ask for it and they won't let her use her card. She tells him it's $127 extra for insurance in case you need to cancel the trip or you have a trip interruption and you have to leave to fly back for some reason. That way you don't have to buy another $1,500 ticket. Charlie says, forget it. I'm good. Donna says, okay, just wanted to offer it to you. And then she tells him his session has expired. Charlie talks about having a low battery, and he says, it'll probably go through when I hang up, but my battery's almost dead. Worst case scenario, I'll call you in 2 hours. So the next call is between Katie and Charlie. This is on May 23rd, 2 days before Sigfredo's arrest. Charlie tells her where he's working and asks Katie if she wants him to get her a job there. She says that would be great. And she says, you think they're hiring? They start laughing. Hard to tell if they're serious or not. Charlie tells her he's standing on the balcony of the dental office he's working at. And Katie says, you're fancy. Charlie says, oh yeah, a real fancy dentist. They pay really well down here. A little context here on some earlier calls that I just decided not to put in here because it was all about Katie having car trouble. Charlie offered his Range Rover for her to drive. Katie says she's back to her other car now because something else is wrong and she doesn't want to bother anyone. Charlie says, you're driving the Mazda and someone else is driving the Lexus? She says, yeah, because it's a shorter distance, but I have to fix it. Some sensors are off and I'm getting to the point I'm going to have another car payment because it's such a headache. Sigfredo, by the way, was the one driving that Lexus. She said, I'm thinking every weekend we went to the beach and I'm looking for a boat, but we're going to need something to pull that boat with, so I don't know. Charlie says, I don't know why, but I can tell you this, I'll help. I'll help you out with Sully. That's the mechanic. Katie says, I don't understand why he's not fixing everything. I didn't tell you, but the day I got it back, I had it towed twice, a block down, and it was still messed up, so I wasted the whole day to go over there, and then I just got it towed to my house. And I was like, fix it, whatever needs to be done. She said it was smoking and wobbling, and she said that her friend drove it for her. Charlie's like, get the F out of here. Katie said, yeah, I called him and he said he focused on one part of the car And I was like, but you should have checked the whole thing. And she said, you didn't test drive my car? She says Sigfredo is the one driving the Lexus, but he said he didn't want to drive it a lot. Katie says, I have that car, so we're able to have a car we can drive around because her mother's car needs work also. Charlie tells her to sell the Mazda, and Katie says that's what she's thinking. Charlie tells her the Lexus is a really good car, and Katie says, we're not getting rid of it. That's going to be my son's car. Charlie tells her it's a well-made car. If anything breaks, replace it, but that car will last forever. Katie tells Charlie they don't own anything. She doesn't own a house. She said, we could have been on the boat every weekend. Charlie says he would help her get rid of the Mazda. Keep in mind, even though you had 2 car payments for $300 a piece each month, that's $600 a month, and you're not putting $600 a month into your cars. Katie tells Charlie that's how much she pays for her child to go to school. Charlie tells her to get rid of the Mazda and get something that can pull a boat. Katie said they owned a boat before, and when something happens to it, it's a headache. Charlie says you're in a great position. There's people who need to sell a boat. Someone could ask 30 grand, and you say, I'll give you 16. Charlie talks about the weather being beautiful. Katie says, I've got to live my life. Charlie says, let's get a boat. Katie said what made her feel like that is a friend's ex-boyfriend had to turn himself in today, and she said that sucks. Charlie asked, what did he do? Katie said he took a plea deal instead of doing 15 to 30 years because he's a habitual offender. She said, so take the year and a day. You have to go to prison. You don't have to go to county. Charlie says, you're way better off, especially if you look scary. Katie says, we just looked at his mugshot and he looks scary. Charlie says, you could be 300 pounds and a total sweetheart, but if you're tatted on your neck and you have long hair and a goatee, I mean, I don't know what the guy looks like, but if you look the part, Katie interrupts and says, that's actually pretty close. She said she feels bad because he's a really nice guy. And Charlie says, if you have neck tattoos, all of a sudden you're a bad dude. Like, no, maybe you just did a stupid thing when you were young. If you put 2 teardrops under your eye, you're getting maximum. 1 teardrop, almost the maximum. If you look like that, you got to take it into consideration. Katie says it's racial profiling. That's why they have a word for it. Charlie says you could be 200 pounds and tatted up and walk in a room, and people will say, I'm not messing with that guy. But Charlie says, I know guys 120 pounds who could snap every bone in your body. Charlie talks about his friend with cancer. He says he's having other symptoms and talks about if you have 4 months, you don't want to spend the last 2 months of that in bed and in pain. I said today, if the prognosis is really bad and it's not going to be pretty, we'll take him to Colombia and we'll get him 10 of the hottest. You can't really hear what he says because Katie interrupts, but then Charlie says they'll put a kilo of Coke in his room and be like, buddy, don't come out. Charlie says, I would. Charlie says, we're going to take like 20 of his closest friends, get a mansion, put a kilo of Coke in there and say, don't come out. And he'll go out like that. Katie says, that's what good friends are for. Mind you, this friend, Charlie said, had a wife and kids, but he wants to take him to Colombia with a bunch of Coke and pretty women. At this point, Katie realizes she has met this friend who has cancer, and she says, oh my God, that sucks. Why do all the cute ones go? Charlie says, that's why I'm living forever. I'm going to be like 103 years old and still ugly. Katie said it depressed her when Charlie told her about this guy last weekend. I was like, life is so short. Charlie talks about having to be a witness to this guy's do not resuscitate. They talk about the guy's wife, and Katie says, you don't believe in marriages. Charlie says, I believe marriages happen. Katie says, you have a girlfriend who you hate to be with. You're so weird. Katie asks if she has to be the positive one in this relationship. And Charlie says, today, you're the positive one and I'm the hopeless romantic. They go on to talk about how cigarettes are gross. Charlie says, I live for the moment now. I take my boat out on Sundays. I take my pipe, smoke some weed, drink a margarita. It's therapy being out on the water. They talk about boats for a while and then they hang up. So we're going back to Donna and Charlie the day before Sigfredo's arrest, May 24th. Donna says, hi, Charlie. I'm so glad you stayed last night. That was nice. Charlie tells her he had no intention of staying. Donna says, yeah, then stay for a while. Then you have something to eat. I said to Dad, it's nice you have a son that you're really proud of. And when he sits down, he can have an intelligent conversation with people and he's charming and personable. It's just what makes you really proud as a parent to be able to enjoy this. They talk about somebody they know being miserable all the time. Donna says Avi and Allison were 2 of the biggest snobs at Temple. Donna said it used to be Judy and Phil. Then Avi and Allison, who were 10 years younger, moved to town. They made a fortune and they were known as new money. They replaced the other couple to be the new king and queen of the Temple. Donna says she really didn't become friendly with them, but she would meet them occasionally and say hello. But that's about it. She saw Allison on the elevator once and they talked. Avi retired 8 years ago. He had back pain and couldn't walk. Charlie talks about these people having big money. Then they talk about somebody who lives beachfront. They bleep the name out, I believe, for $10 a day, hangs out with lots of young, pretty girls. This person surfs and travels the world. Donna says, that sounds fun. Charlie talks about how the guy's dad is in a rat race, works all year just to take a vacation or two. And then Charlie talks about how this guy's dad has ex-wives and kids and pays a lot of money. Donna said she told her friend Allison, none of us know what tomorrow will bring. And this is why my son always says, enjoy the days you have that are good because you don't know what tomorrow brings. Oh, touche, Donna, touche. Charlie and Donna talk about not getting married. Charlie says he doesn't want to end up with the wrong person. He says, you don't want to be 40 and not married. And then Donna says, it used to be in the old days, you didn't want to be 30 and not married since 30 was considered old. Now it's 40 and not married. Charlie tells Donna, in your generation, if you were 30 and not married, people would be like, what is wrong? Donna says, if you're a 30-year-old guy, but if you were a 25-year-old girl, they would say, oh my gosh. Charlie says, if you're somewhat decent looking, you're successful, you fit into a different category, and you have options that normally when you're a 37-year-old school teacher, you don't have those options. Oh, he's so shallow. Donna says she needs to return the suitcase that Charlie lent Harvey because it's not big enough. Donna said she opened it this morning and told Charlie, you have some change in there from Vietnam. I'm holding it for you, but I opened it because we had to pack. I said to Dad, let me open the suitcase and see how big it is. It looks a little smaller. And I said, I don't know how Charlie managed, but I guess you took so little it worked out for you. Charlie says, by the way, I have one check that I'm going to deposit for that one apartment. Donna tells him to take a picture of it before he deposits it. Charlie said he did, and he texted it to his dad. He said there are a total of 2 checks. They're up to about $17,000 a month. That call ends. This call is between Katie and somebody who just is unknown. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit panicky for Katie because Katie tells this person, there are 2 guys in front of my house, and I don't know what my rights are or anything, but I don't want to open the door. The man asked Katie, do you have a warrant for your arrest? And Katie says, no, not for me. Apparently, they went to the father of my kid's job and wanted to speak with him. And he's like, you can speak to my attorney, but now they're at my house because they have my address and I'm freaking out. The guy says, how do you know you need a criminal defense lawyer? Katie says, because they're with the feds or something. He told me they came and left. He's like, I don't need to go anywhere. And now they're at my house because Sigfredo uses my address. The man asks, are they looking for you or him? Katie said, they already saw him, so why are they looking at my house? The man says, I have no idea. It's not like a criminal defense lawyer is going to show up there. Criminal defense lawyers are only going to help you if that's the state or the police department is coming to arrest you. Katie asked if they need a warrant. The person asks if they're banging on your door. Did they say anything? Katie says nothing at all. And this has happened before a long time ago. I don't know if it has anything to do with the father of my children. Then out of the blue, she says, sorry, I'm going to flush right now. And you hear a toilet flush. She said, but they were banging at the door and they didn't say anything. So I was going to call the police to see who these 2 men are that's banging on my door. I'm home alone. Then I was calling their dad's job and I'm like, okay, are they getting him? But they just let him go. But they say they just wanted to speak. And I'm like, why are they outside my door? The man says, well, there's only one way to find out, but criminal defense attorneys can only do something once you've been arrested. Katie says, okay, they can just sit outside. She said, I'm looking out my window and I can see. The man interrupts and says, they might have a warrant for your arrest. And if they do, they can. Katie asks if she can look that up online, if she could do a general search to see if she has a warrant. He says, not necessarily. The warrant could be from anywhere. He said when he was younger, he had a job. They came in with bounty hunters from Georgia. Whoever they were after had outstanding tickets she didn't pay, and they came down and got her, so it could be from anywhere. You just can't do a general search. Katie's freaking out, really, y'all, as she says, do I have to open the front door? The man says, technically no, but if they're waiting outside, they know you're there. Katie says it's scary. And the man says, sometimes with a warrant, the police can come and bang down the door. He says, I have no clue what they're there for. It's impossible for me to know. Katie says, oh my God, Robert, I'm just freaking out. I don't understand why they're outside and I don't know what to do. He asks if she has to leave the house today. And she says, I have to get my kids later. She says she's working from home today. The man says, if I were you, I would just go out there and ask, can I help you? I mean, if you've got a warrant for your arrest, you have to get arrested anyway unless you clear it up. Katie says, I've no tickets, nothing. He says, just find out what they want and I wouldn't be scared. Katie says, I'm freaking out because I've watched too many movies and I don't want them to rush in my house and take my things. You get me? Like I'm scared. The man says, they're not going to take your things unless they're creditors and you owe people a lot of money. And then they have to have a judge's order saying that they could come and take your things. Katie says, no, I'm saying like my personal stuff. Take my phone, go through my phone. The man says, I don't know what to tell you. It could be nothing. They could have a few questions for you. They might be doing investigations on someone else and figure maybe you know something. Katie says, give me 1 second. She is gone for about 45 seconds. There's silence. When she comes back, she says, I'm going to call you back in 2 seconds. One of the lawyers just called him right now, meaning Sigfredo. He didn't have to go anywhere with the feds. The lawyer told Katie it's worse if they're just sitting out there and advised her to go out there and ask, what is it you need? The man says, that's correct. She asks if they have a search warrant or anything. Are they allowed to take me? And the man says, if they have a search warrant, they're allowed to search your house. And if they have one, they'll just bang the door down anyway. Katie says, okay, then why are they just sitting out there? He said it could be a million things. They could be investigating someone else. For example, your neighbor could be some sex trafficker and they want to find out information. So they're going around questioning people. It could be anything. I have no idea. Katie says, I don't want to go out there, Pops. He says the problem is you can't not leave your house all day. He said, have somebody else pick up the kids, but I'm sure they know you're there. Otherwise, they wouldn't just sit there. She says, I know. So he tells her to go outside. Katie says, okay, I go to my door, ask, can I help you? Katie says, okay. She tells him to keep in touch because she's freaking out. I just don't trust them at all. He said, if you do get arrested, then you're usually allowed to call someone. So call me and I'll get someone I know to come help you. Katie says this is an effing nightmare. And then the call ends. So that's the first big wiretap call where there's action. And so they've been to Sigfredo's workplace. The next day, Sigfredo is going to get arrested at a gas station at like 9 p.m. And the thing is, Katie knows why they're there, but she can't tell this person named Robert that she refers to as Pops why. May 25th, the day of Sigfredo's arrest, although that doesn't happen until after this call, they both sound very chipper. Donna's totally in her element with these boys. I'm going to play this call because I think it's interesting to hear how happy they are, not knowing that in a matter of hours, Sigfredo's going to be arrested and their world is going to get turned upside down in a way that they could not imagine.
Charlie.
Hey, how are you?
Good, honey. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
What's going on? I'm making tacos for the boys. That's what's going on.
I love tacos.
Well, where are you? Come eat.
I'm in Port St. Lucie. I got probably about a half hour by airplane.
Yeah. Well, that's a long ride. Your nephew Ben was talking to me today about how he gets to celebrate his birthday every year in a different place. But that's because you have a summer birthday. So last year was Boston. This year it's going to be Philadelphia. So he says, but does that mean is Uncle Charlie coming? I said, honey, he can't. He has to work, so he can't come to Philadelphia. So he says, well, can we make a party that Uncle Charlie can come to that's not in Philadelphia? I said, yeah. So you may have to do something with him because he wants to know why Uncle Charlie couldn't come to Philadelphia to his birthday.
That's such a good point.
He's just sweetie. So I said, you know what? You and Uncle Charlie will do something special before we go. So that's before you leave for Spain.
Yes. What day do I leave? The 3rd?
August 3rd.
Okay.
And we're leaving on his birthday to go up to Pennsylvania. So maybe the week before we go away, maybe enter in that week that you can do something with him on the weekend or something on a Sunday. Okay?
That's awesome. So you're going up to Philly?
Going on to Philly on the 29th on his birthday. I'll make him a little party there over the weekend. Ruth has already made sure that Paul is going to come in from New York and with his baby, so that'll be really cool to see them. And Karen and Brian, so that then we'll have a little party there. So that'll be nice.
And where's the plan?
Wendy's coming up. We're flying up Friday with Wendi, and she'll stay with us till Monday. She has to go back on Monday. So she'll be there for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, I think toward evening, she'll fly back. And then we'll be up there till the following Saturday.
Are you going to stay in Philadelphia the whole time? Or?
Yeah, most likely. I mean, at some point I will let Robert know that we're going up there, but I don't know whether we'll see him or not. So we'll see. We'll play that by ear, but probably I'll stay in Philadelphia. Give him the opportunity to drive a few hours and see us, which he won't do.
Right.
So that's going to be my offer, you know?
Yeah, no, I think, listen, they come to Naples and they come to Orlando.
Right. And they get off at the Fort Lauderdale airport and don't say, can you meet us up in this area before we drive to Naples? Which you know I would do.
I didn't even think of that. They fly to Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They don't fly into Naples. They fly into Fort Lauderdale.
Ooh.
Yeah. How'd you like that? When I first spoke to them one time, and he said, oh, yeah, we just got into the car and we're headed out to Naples. I said, well, where are you? He said, Fort Lauderdale. I said, why didn't you tell me? I would have come and met you up in Fort Lauderdale, and we can have lunch there before you drive out to Naples. Oh, I didn't think about it. No, you don't think about anything to do with anybody except yourself. So, of course, you don't think about it.
It's not that he didn't think, Mom.
Isn't that nice?
I'll give you a news flash.
Oh, I don't need a news flash, believe me.
It's not that they didn't think about it. It's that they didn't want to do it.
Yeah, because it's better that week that they went out there, we went out twice, plus you 2.5 hours each direction the same day. So we did that twice that week, once with Wendi and Dave came with us, and once by ourselves.
So you spent 6 hours in the car.
Yeah, so that we could see them rather than say, yeah, we're going to be in Fort Lauderdale. Let's take an hour and have lunch with you guys before we go. Yeah. Anyway, on to more pleasant subjects.
I know, but at least you're getting a little bit smarter.
I've gotten a lot smarter. Took me a long time, but I got a lot smarter.
You caught on at the very end.
Yeah. Well,
it's funny. I didn't even think of that until you just said that. Yeah, it's not that they didn't realize like Fort Lauderdale, Miami, very close, or they just.
Or how about when they went to Disney? They don't think of even telling us that I got it out of him when he said he was packing. I said, packing? Where are you going? Packing for Orlando. When I said, well, why didn't you tell me? We would come up and see you. Oh, well, it was a last-minute thing. What is that? Last minute? What is that have to do with this?
First of all, I never met anyone who, like, last minute doesn't mean, like, 10 minutes. Last minute's like 10 minutes ago. Like, oh, we decided to go to the beach today.
Yeah, they decided during the week to take the kids. It was a meeting for him, but then they decided to go for the week. Okay, that's great. So say, hey, I know it's really far, but you guys consider driving up to Orlando.
Yeah,
we would have gone.
When they fly in and land 17 miles from you.
Yeah. And I'm not even telling them to drive down here. I'm just saying, why didn't you let me know? I'd come up. Oh, yeah, no, we're going straight out to Naples. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Because I didn't do everything possible for you growing up, right? I was a really inattentive parent. Please, don't even get me going.
Yeah, no. Well, at least you're getting a little bit smarter.
Yeah.
Actually, you've gotten a lot smarter. I correct myself. No, but you know what the thing is? You set the bar so low now that you don't get disappointed.
I have zero expectations. I am not disappointed in anything. Nothing. No. Dad takes it a lot harder than I do. But I'm not disappointed in anything.
Listen, if there's any take-home message from it, you need to have more than one kid. No, I'm serious. I mean, like, I hate to say it, but like, for multiple reasons, you need to have more than one kid because you don't know. I mean, you don't know. I mean, you can end up with some kid that everything's great, and then he's like a paranoid schizophrenic and thinks you're the devil, and then you're like, all right, now I got no kids. That's great. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's
all kinds of craziness. You know, you say that, and my friend Danielle that I grew up with and went to school every day with.
You were telling me her son.
Her brother's son. Her brother's a dentist. He has three children, 3 boys. The youngest one now is just graduating from dental school. And and getting married, and the other one, I forgot the other one's up to, and the oldest one became a Hare Krishna and moved out to California and doesn't want to acknowledge his family. Out of the effing blue. I mean, like Danny said, sometimes I'm glad that I never had children. She says, because when you see my brother and how heartbroken he is, no contact with nothing.
I don't even know what a Hare Krishna is.
Oh, you know the guys in the white robes that beg at the airport?
Get out of here.
Yeah, they're like, yeah.
Sits there and they're like,
nobody argues it with him.
Nobody says, well, what makes him a dork? Because he likes to study and he wants to, like, no, I don't. Nobody's. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Let Lance enjoy him.
Yeah, exactly. It'll come up to one day. He'll figure it out. Took me a long time, so it'll take him a long time.
Lance will realize. I mean, that baffles me because it really doesn't take me. It doesn't take long in talking to him to realize the guy's off. Like,
no, you don't. I have to tell you, I've seen him when we've gone out to dinner. We've gone out to dinner at least 3 or 4 times with Lance, and Dad, of course, picks up the check, and everyone's no, and so we've done that several times, and he is charming with Lance. I mean, if you'd see him, you'd go, "Wow, great guy. He's really sweet and friendly and smart and fun." You would not know. You wouldn't. You would not get it at all.
Because when I sat at Dad's party.
Oh, I know.
We were downstairs eating outside. Yeah. Like, I hadn't seen him in like 2-3 years, and I made that bet with Wendi. How many things I can ask him about himself before he
when you finally picked you and said, "Stop already"?
Mom, I was at 34.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I got 34 one-word answers. Like, dude, I haven't seen you in like years. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's actually in the last 5 years the only contact I've had with him.
Yeah,
so you think, and I remember walking to the Continuum, and the black guy that's sitting there goes, "Hey, Charlie, how's your day?" I'm like, that's a better greeting than my brother that I've spoken to in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, go figure, Honestly, there's something wrong. I don't know what it is. I'm not a psychiatrist. I cannot analyze.
It's definitely wrong. But he can turn it on and off. Like, it's not.
Yeah, and that's why I say to Dad, I don't predict anything, but I have this feeling that one day Haritha is going to get the brunt of this, just the way he gave it to us. If he can turn off feeling like that, there's something wrong with him.
Yeah, it's not. It's odd. It's almost like once the kids leave the house.
Yeah.
It'll be fine as long as the kids are there because that's 100% of his attention.
Right.
One day in 15 years when the kids leave the house, it'll be.
And you know what? I think she knows because I've been on the phone a couple of times with him, and I only knew one other person whose husband was a little off, and she used to quote cover for him. Jordan Basinski's dad, he was off, and the same kind of way. He was just kind of strange, and his wife knew it. And you could see when you have a conversation with them, like she would do the answering, she would kind of cover. When I'm on the phone with them, with the kids, to do a Skyping, Haritha, you would think Haritha's like our best friend. Haritha gets on, "Oh, hey, how's everything going?" And Robert doesn't talk to us. Doesn't talk, he's right there. He doesn't say, "Hey, Mom, how you doing?" And yet, a couple of times, Dad is called on the phone, like on his way home from work, to try to get him. And it's, "Oh, hey, Dad." And he goes from one extreme to the other. Like if you were mad at me, you'd say, "Look, Mom, I'm angry at this. I'd like to talk this over with you. Let's straighten this out." You don't just forget it. Anyway, so how long does it take you to get back from there?
Sorry about that.
Huh? Here's what it is. Guys, if that's ready, your tacos are ready.
At least you got 2 kids. You got a whole 2 kids and 2 grandkids.
Yep, I do. So definitely, like, somewhere in the end of June, even if it's before his birthday, because these poor children will be on a cruise.
I know. What I'm going to do, I'm going to talk to Wendi. I'll talk to Wendi this week, and I want to set it up with Dave, or maybe we'll take all the deep sea fishing.
Oh my God, that would be so nice.
You know, this first I've seen the keys and everything. And
You don't have to go that far.
Well, if we do the keys, it could be more of like an intimate setting where we're all like on the boat. That's kind of how I sent you and Dad out that time.
Honey? Charlie? Am I losing? I don't think I lost you. Can you hear me?
No.
Here you are. Okay.
It was just because I'm on like a stretch between Jupiter and Port St. Lucie.
Oh.
But, you know, if we do the keys, it would be more of like an intimate setting, like when I sent you and Dad out on the boat that time.
Right.
Or what we could do is like at a, like, you know how they have the deep sea fishing charters are like $29 a person and you go like, deep sea fishing, you know, you just drop anchor and like, do that. That's the other choice.
Well, yeah, talk to Wendi and see what she thinks.
So if I do it that way, I could bring Lincoln.
That's right.
So do you want to do it where Ben and Lincoln come, and then me and Dad? That way, the two of us could watch the two boys.
Yeah, that would be better.
And then Dave could bring his kids, and like.
Yeah, that would be fun. It really would.
All right, then I'm gonna talk to Dave and see if, and then also too, that'll be like Wendi seeing like the whole family's doing stuff and the guys all doing stuff, and like.
Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe
it'll like, but I think she's kind of dating Dave now.
I wouldn't know. She doesn't tell me anything.
No.
As you know, I know absolutely. And the only thing I ever hear is what I hear from you. Otherwise, nothing. Nothing.
So, well, let me talk to Wendi first. Okay. No, I'm on a long stretch of road. But I could talk to Wendi first.
Yeah, I would talk to her first.
And then get a feel for which one, and then if she's fine with me, Dad, Ben, and Lincoln, and then open it up to Dave and his three boys. Yeah. So literally, like, I'll set it up where all of us will go.
That sounds great.
And I think it'd be pretty cool to do something like that and bring everybody.
Oh, I think so too. I think so too.
So.
All right. Let me feed them. I gotta make their tacos for them.
So that's great. So Dad's done for the week.
Dad will be done for the week. Yes, tonight.
Awesome.
That will be it. Yes. We're going to see Clint tomorrow. He's going to show us a couple of places, and then we'll go on from there. I don't know if there's,
Are you looking at anything new in the continuum, or?
No. There's really. We saw what there is at the continuum, and the only availability would be places that have the problem with the, what do you call it?
Have rotating beds.
Yeah. Well, that one would be an interesting one. That one actually, by August, there won't be anything blocking it. But
yeah, which is perfect.
Which is perfect. But it's not a big enough apartment. I don't want to go to something that's that tiny. I just wouldn't be.
Yeah,
I want to go bigger. But it was cute. It was fun.
But you know what? Like the nice thing too is if you want your place, you still have it.
That's right.
So you win either way.
I got an email today from this young guy who has got a mini schnauzer, and he just had a baby about 3 months ago. And he said, I just today sent it. I just heard from my contractor, and it looks like I'm going to get into the house early July rather than later. So it looks like the August 1st may be a possibility. Are you guys still have any potential interest? So I'll wait until Dad comes home and we'll talk about it. Yeah, If you want to give it to me for $65, you want to give it to me for less than this. It's the same apartment, but a little more modern. The kitchen's not closed off. It opens straight in. It's a little, he's made a couple of nice changes. One said, no, shut it off. Your tacos are right here. I'm going to help you put it together.
What does he want for it?
That's what I want to find out. He should want less because he's not going to use a realtor if he gets us.
Oh, you just happen to meet him through the building?
Yeah, we know him, a young guy. We know him at the gym. He's been really Jewish guy, Mark Shackman, I think is his name. Really nice guy. And his wife just had the baby, and their house is being built. He's our sweetheart. Right after dinner.
What floor is it on?
I can't remember. I think he's either 2 above or 2 below. I forgot. Wait a minute. He's upstairs. He's right above us, 2704.
Okay. And you guys wouldn't mind moving all your stuff and everything? I just need a mover to move the bed and the piano. The rest of the stuff, that's it. The rest is not mine. And then we have to find out if I think he was going to leave his furniture, which was nicer than this. Okay.
Guys, boys, You're getting it ready, but come sit at the table. Then come sit, babe.
All right.
All right, let me go. I've got my hands full.
He should have. What was he asking?
I think he wanted around 7, but with all the construction, he should ask less.
Mom, he's going to get. He has to give the agent 1 month's rent.
Right. So that's $7,000 that he wouldn't have to come up with.
So,
yeah.
Actually, 1 month's rent. Yeah, so it's time. $7,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like him to.
That's like he needs $400 a day.
Right.
So you're offering him more money.
No, I want to offer him less money. I'm paying $68 here.
Yeah.
I want to go less.
I'm saying if you rented it for a year.
Oh, right.
It would be like you getting sued.
Right. Oh, Charlie, and I'm going to say something for your brother. Charlie, I'm losing you. I don't know if you're hearing me, but I no longer hear you.
And we're good.
There you go. You're back. I missed what you said.
What I was saying to him is the agent takes 1 month's rent.
Right.
So let's cut out the agent, and we'll do it. And we'll get forms.
And so what do you think I should offer?
Whatever the agent would take 1 month's rent, right?
Yeah.
So do this. Take 7 times 12 is 84. 84 minus 7 is 77.
77.
Divided by 12.
Oh, okay.
And they basically give him his asking price. Just cut out the agent fees that you're not going to get anyway.
Right.
And I'm not going to beat you up on the fact that the pool is going to be demolished.
Right.
Okay. So he's getting his asking price, which is basically $6,500. Is what he's going to get. So he'll get exactly, and he won't have to show it to people, and he won't have to wonder what if it doesn't rent. So I wouldn't basically, whoever 77 divided by 12 is.
77. Okay. All right. Let me think.
I think that's super fair. They're not beating him up at all.
Yeah. Okay. Let me talk to you later. I'm trying to control these boys.
All right. Sounds good.
I love you. Drive safely.
It's crazy to hear her talk about her son that way, and he didn't bend to her. She's made clear throughout the wiretaps up to this point that Wendi doesn't talk to her. Wendi doesn't tell her anything about her relationship, and she mentions it enough to where it lets me know it bothers her in a big way. It's really the first time she sort of unloads about Robert. Out of all of the Adelsons, Robert is just living a very, very normal life. Married, got kids, doing his own thing miles away. And yet he's the bad one because he recognizes how toxic this family is and he removed himself. She told Robert, you essentially have to choose between the love of your life and our family. And then she wonders why Rob doesn't want to see her. It's just insane. The next calls are going to be after Sigfredo's arrest. So we'll get to those this week. In the meantime, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. We will see you soon.